Some nights it can feel so hard to get dinner on the table and to feel good about what you are feeding to your kids. In this episode of the Mom Life Handbook podcast, we are diving into 5 go-to meals that my kids personally approve of and have really come to love. These are the recipes that I also really enjoy because they're simple to put together. I know these like the back of my hand. I don't have to research a meal and then worry about if my kids are going to like it. So I thought it would be helpful to spend some time this week sharing a little bit more about these recipes so that you have a few options right at your fingertips to make weeknight dinners a little bit easier. Now, you're not walking away with any recipes. These are just off the top of my head, the ingredients I would pull together and how I would prepare them. That's what I love about these. These are so simple. You do not have to be someone who excels in the kitchen. These are so straightforward. So grab a piece of paper and a pencil so that you can jot down the ideas that really stick out to you and enjoy having the peace of mind that you finally have some kid-approved meals that you don't have to think twice about. If that's what you need more of in your life today, you're in the right place. Let's simplify things together. I'm Erin Christopoulos, a mother of 2 and teacher-turned-mom strategist who puts the pieces of mom life together so you don't have to. I get that you're short on time and don't have the capacity to figure out everything on your own, which is why I'm here to help you get clear on where to put your focus while protecting your time and energy so you can actually enjoy these years with your little ones. I'm ditching the overwhelming and unrealistic one-size-fits-all tactics and replacing them with an approach that's practical and personal, because I believe your family is one of a kind with its own qualities and values that deserve an adaptable approach, offering support and encouragement where you need it most. From honest conversations and mindset shifts to practical tips and sustainable strategies, consider this your customizable guide to mom life. With the tools and resources you need at your fingertips, you'll finally have the confidence and clarity you need to bring more intention and ease to everyday life so that you and your family thrive. This is the Mom Life Handbook. I don't know if you're anything like me, but I feel like as the kids are getting older, we are busier. And I try to be really intentional about making sure we don't overdo it with our commitments, but the kids are older and they can keep up with more activities and their interests are expanding. So naturally, we are becoming a little bit busier, which if you want to hear more about my philosophy around how to choose the right extracurriculars for your child and your family, Episode 17 is all about smart extracurricular choices and finding balance for your kids to ensure that you aren't overcommitting or stretching yourselves too thin. If you want to tune in to that episode, I'll link it in the show notes. Or you can go to listen.momlifehandbook.com/017. That's digits 017, and you can tune in right there. And I'll say that even though I've been really mindful about what we've committed the kids to this school year, the timing of these activities has really pushed me to have to rethink my approach to dinner time. There are a lot of days where I am having to prep ingredients before school gets out and also making use of my Instant Pot. So sometimes the dinner time crunch doesn't necessarily come down to making choices that don't serve your family. It just means that we have to rethink how we're doing things. So I wanted to share with you these 5 different go-to meals that are really quick to put together. They're very simple, easily adaptable. We have not only different taste preferences in our house, but then also allergies to contend with. So I'll try to also share some notes on how I offer these things in different ways, depending on maybe what your needs might be in your house, so that you can also see that it's okay to serve your family one meal and to then mix it up according to different needs in your household. So our first recipe is for pesto and chicken Italian sausage pizza roll-ups. So in our household, I use a dairy-free pesto. You could make your own pesto, just leave out the Parmesan cheese. or you can find vegan pesto. I know I can usually find one at Whole Foods. And then I like to get pre-made pizza dough, either, again, from Whole Foods or from Trader Joe's. You can typically find pre-made pizza dough just about anywhere, though, these days. And then at Whole Foods, they have this really good Italian sausage that's made from chicken. Obviously, if your family doesn't eat meat or you have a child who doesn't eat meat, you could leave that option out. You could experiment with giving these more of a breakfast flair if you wanted some protein. If you're not vegan, you could do eggs. If you are vegan, you could try something like just egg, and then also have cheese on hand. So usually mozzarella for our family, but again, for the dairy allergy, we tend to get just those wonderful imitation cheese shreds, which I cannot believe I serve. But honestly, another concern in our household for one of my kids who has the allergies is making sure that they're making their progress in getting enough calories every day. So we've had to work with a dietitian to ensure that that's happening because of some other medical things. And I think that this can be more universally applied. Sometimes we can be a little bit hard on ourselves about making sure that everything we're feeding our kids is, nutritious and whole food ingredients and organic. And as much as I aspire to incorporate as many quality foods into my kids' diet as possible, there is something to be said about making sure that our kids are getting enough caloric intake every day. And so the vegan cheese has been one of my compromises. So go ahead and roll out your pizza dough, top it with some olive oil, some of the pesto, sprinkle the sausage on top or the egg, whatever you're using, and then the cheese, and then you're going to roll it up into a tight log, almost as if you were rolling up cinnamon rolls. And then flip that seam so it's down on the cutting board, and then go ahead and cut the rolls just like you would a cinnamon roll. And then you're going to lay those out onto a baking sheet and cook those for 20 minutes at 400. If your kids don't like flavors mixed up, you could keep the pesto on the side for dipping and just use the olive oil on the crust. You could make some that are just cheese and don't have the sausage. Or again, you could serve the sausage on the side. That's what I used to do with Stella. She did not like it in her roll-up, but she liked to snack on it on the side. So you have so many options here. You could change up the cheeses for whatever your kids like. And then the roll-ups are just fun. The kids really enjoy that format for some reason. They're handheld, they look cool. So give those a try. Let me know what you think of them. And then obviously with the pizza roll-ups, feel free to serve a side salad or any veggies and fruit that the kids will love. Honestly, I eat these for dinner too with a salad. It's perfect. And then another classic that we rely on probably weekly is a good old BFD, breakfast for dinner. So one thing we'll do are eggs on toast. So for the egg allergy, I'll get the Just Egg pre-made eggs that are in the freezer section and put that on the toast with some vegan butter. And then for the people in our family who can have the eggs, I use soft-boiled eggs and I put those on to the toast. And this works really well for my kiddo who doesn't love eggs. I think that, and I remember this as a kid too, like a hard-boiled egg was the worst. The yolk was always so dry and chalky. And I think that even comes into play with when I scramble eggs or fry the eggs. So I found that soft boiling the eggs allows for the yolk to soak into the toast. So they're getting the nutrition that way. And then I just kind of chop up and smear the whites on top of the toast with that. And then I also butter the toast and then sprinkle it with a little bit of sea salt. That's a really tasty dinner. And since dinner time can be so chaotic, I've started to rely on appliances that can help me prevent messing up dinner. And soft-boiled eggs are one of those things that you could mess up if you're not watching the clock carefully enough and the kids distract you and you get pulled away. So at Target, there is this tiny egg cooker, and I think you can cook 7 or 8 eggs at a time. It is the cutest little appliance. I think it's $18. It's from Dash. I'll link it in the show notes. And you can set your eggs in there. You poke a little hole in the top using the tool they give you, fill in a little water, put the lid on, turn it on, and then depending on how much water you put into the appliance, it will give you soft-boiled eggs, medium-boiled eggs, or hard-boiled eggs. And then when it's done, it sings you the cutest tune, and you know it is time to take the eggs out and they are ready to be eaten. I try to not buy too many appliances, but this is one that I love so much and I use all the time because it's really important to me that our eggs turn out right. And honestly, I often get too distracted to make sure that that happens. So this one has been great, and it's a great way to involve the kids as well. So we do the soft-boiled eggs or the just egg on buttered toast with some sort of breakfast meat on the side, whether you want to do some bacon or some chicken sausage, whatever your family prefers. What's great about this is for the people that like breakfast sandwiches, their breakfast meat goes onto the toast, and then usually some cherry tomatoes, some orange slices, and we have our breakfast for dinner. Our third option is another recipe that my kids ask for all the time, and that's to take a chicken breast, saute it in a pan with some olive oil for 1 minute, and then flip it over. Put the lid on your skillet and turn the heat down to a medium low. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Don't touch it. And then when those 10 minutes are done, repeat your timer for another 10 minutes, but turn the heat off on the skillet. You will get the most perfect chicken breasts every time. I don't know how it works, but it's amazing. I have found that living at a higher altitude now, I do tend to have to leave it for 11 or 12 minutes usually for each part of this. But if you are not in a higher altitude, that shouldn't be a problem. And then while the chicken is cooking, I boil a pot of water and cook some pasta. Now, I have been getting the Barilla protein pasta. I find mine at Target. I'll link it in the show notes again. This is ridiculously good pasta. It's made from semolina. There's no enriched flour or anything like that. And then also different flours like chickpea flour. And you will be shocked at how good this pasta tastes. It is like regular pasta, but your kids are getting an extra dose of protein, which I really appreciate as a parent. So my kids they have a small penne noodle, and then they have a spaghetti noodle. So I'll usually cook up one of those, and it finishes up right around the same time as the chicken breast. Slice up the chicken breast. I'll usually brown some butter, or for dairy allergy, just use some melted vegan butter. Toss that with the pasta, and then you can top with Parmesan or vegan Parmesan. So literally the brown butter noodles, and then top it with the chicken breast, sprinkle with some parm, and then again, you can serve any veggie on the side that works for your family. If your family likes broccoli, you could have that. If side salad is more your jam, have that. This is also a really good dinner for if you go to Trader Joe's and you get any of those pre-made vegetable dishes in the freezer section, this would be a great thing to pair those with. I feel like all those go really well with pasta. And if you have someone that doesn't like brown butter on their pasta, you can do red sauce, open a can of that. This is so flexible, but it's the chicken breast that really shines here because it's so easy to make and finishes up at the same time as the pasta. The fourth recipe is one that's pretty new for our family, but has been a sure winner, and those have been BLT wraps. For the true traditionalists, you can obviously toast some bread and serve BLTs, but I've been loving these wraps. So rather than having the toast, what you do instead is to use breadcrumbs. So I like to make these ahead of time. This is one thing that I'll say you want to have this done ahead of time. Otherwise, it's not going to be so quick. But all it takes is blitzing some stale, crusty bread in a food processor or blender and just have that on hand. And then go ahead and cook up some bacon and then drain some of the rendered fat off of the pan, leaving a little, and then go ahead and saute those breadcrumbs in the rendered fat for these really tasty, crispy breadcrumbs. And then all you need are some leafy greens that you can wrap the bacon and breadcrumbs in, top with some tomato slices, and then I like to make some horseradish mayo. You could get pre-made horseradish mayo, or you can just, again, add some horseradish and lemon and sea salt to some mayo, mix it up, and put that on your wraps as well. It is so good. And this is great for the kids that, again, don't like things together. It's so easy to let them build their own, let them eat them how they would like. And then I like to serve these with just some oven fries. So, cut up some russet potatoes, toss them with olive oil and sea salt, and let those cook in the oven. It helps if you have an air fryer because it'll go a lot faster. And also, if you're really short on time, rather than doing like spears, you could do rounds, and those are just thinner and cook faster. You could probably get those done in 15 to 20 minutes either way at 450. And then our last recipe is so nice and quick. It is pretty straightforward. This tends to be one that just the kids eat, but it would be easy for you to adapt it for yourselves as grown-ups. So I'll usually take some frozen shrimp. I really like the wild-caught shrimp from Butcher Box. I find it really hard to find good quality shrimp that's wild-caught, at least here in Colorado. Even Whole Foods, I find often predominantly carries farmed shrimp. So I'll link to my Butcher Box referral code in case that's something you're interested in trying. Usually they'll also have a great offer like a free bag of shrimp with every order, or I know mine for the lifetime of my subscription, it's like 2 pounds of ground beef with every order. So they always have some great deal. The quality of meat and seafood is incredible, and I love that the pricing is fair and you're getting really quality food that you feel good about serving to your kids. So I grabbed that frozen shrimp, thaw it, that takes maybe 5 minutes, and then just saute them in some olive oil with sea salt, and then make rice. Just expect that that's going to take about 20 minutes. But if you're really pinched for time, you can always get pre-made rice or even make your own rice and freeze it and then just thaw it in the microwave. I like to get the rice from Trader Joe's in the freezer section. So I just keep those on hand for those nights where I'm really pinched for time. The rice is done in under 5 minutes. So we'll have the white rice or brown rice and then the sauteed shrimp on top with a side of cucumbers and then pomegranate arils or whatever fruit I have on hand. You could easily make this into an option for stir fry for yourselves as grown-ups, or if your kids like stir fry, I think that would be a great option to just throw in whatever vegetables you have, maybe a little bit of soy sauce or coconut aminos. And this for sure is one of the fastest dinners that we rely on, and both my kids really love it. It's funny. I don't think I liked shrimp as a kid, but this is one of the few proteins I can actually get my kids to eat, which is fantastic. This and reliably the chicken breast as well that I shared. So there you have it. 5 quick dinner recipes that should help make planning and prepping and meals that your kids love so much easier. Be sure to try at least one of these and let me know what you think of them. And if you would like to hear more episodes like this one, would you please take the time to let me know in a review? You can just drop it on your podcast platform of choice, or you can go to ratethispodcast.com/momlifehandbook, and it'll walk you through the exact steps within seconds to be able to share your thoughts and let me know you'd like to hear more episodes like this. And as we wrap up this week's episode, remember, mom life is complex, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Here's to leading with purpose and intention as you simplify mom life in the week ahead. You've just finished another episode of the Mom Life Handbook podcast. Remember to check out the episode description for all the important links and highlights from today's show. While you're there, tap the subscribe button so that new episodes are always at your fingertips. Before you go, I'd really appreciate hearing your thoughts about the show. It takes as little as 30 seconds to leave a review, and your honest thoughts help me create a better show and help other moms discover it too. And if this episode really helped you out, go ahead and hit the share button to text it to a friend or share it on social media. You never know who in your life might benefit from a little extra support. Don't forget, there are lots of ways to stay connected beyond the podcast. Head over to momlifehandbook.com for additional resources or to learn about how to work with me. And be sure to follow along on Instagram at Mom Life Handbook. Send me a DM to say hey or to share your thoughts on today's episode. Connecting with you personally is what I really love most. And just in case you need to hear it today, you're doing an incredible job. I know it doesn't always feel like it, but you're here, learning how to be better and do better. Keep working to bring more intention and ease into your life, and know that I'm right here cheering you on. You're creating a beautiful journey for you and your family. I am so proud of you.